What if I told you that the hay and grain you feed your horse every single day is actually missing the key things they need to stay strong and sound into their late 20s or even into their 30s? Walk into any feed store and you will see dozens of bags claiming to be the absolute best. But here is the hard veterinary truth. Even the most expensive bagged feeds on the market are processed, dry, and stored for months before they ever reach your barn. And while they have the basic vitamins to keep your horse alive, they often lack the active, living nutrients a horse needs to truly thrive and fight off the problems of aging. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Wade Coleman, your country equine veterinarian. I know that feeding a horse is one of the most stressful and confusing parts of owning one. We all want our horses to live forever, but the reality is that most of us simply cannot afford to feed a barn full of premium supplements that cost hundreds of dollars a month. And please, do not feel guilty about that. Good hay and a decent bagged feed are a solid, affordable foundation. But today, we are going to upgrade that foundation. In this masterclass, I'm going to give you my top 5 veterinary secrets. I'm going to show you exactly what to soak, pour, and mix into your horse's regular feed to protect their gut, guard their joints, and add years of comfortable life. The best part? Most of these are cheap, simple things you can pick up at any feed store or grocery store. Grab a notebook, hit that subscribe button to join our community of educated horse owners, and let's talk about the most important thing your horse's feed is missing right now. Number 1. Secret number 1 is the cheapest and most overlooked addition in the entire world. I'm talking about water. Let's look at how a horse's body actually works. Out on good spring pasture, a horse eats grass that is around 80% water. Their whole digestive system evolved to run on wet, fresh forage, moving through it slowly all day long. Now let's look at the modern barn. Dry hay is only about 10% water. When a horse eats dry hay and dry grain day after day, month after month, especially in winter when they drink less, the contents of their gut get dry and packed and slow. This is exactly how an impaction forms. And an impaction colic is one of the most common emergencies I get called out for, and one of the most dangerous. Real-world example. Have you ever noticed that your horse colics more often in the cold months? Owners always say, "Dr. Wade, nothing changed. He is on the same hay." But something did change. When the water in the trough gets ice cold, most horses drink far less than they need. The hay stays dry, the gut slows down, and by the third cold night, we have a problem. This is not bad luck. This is dehydration you cannot see. The correct way, the easiest way to protect your horse's gut and add years to their life is to stop feeding a completely dry bucket. We need to add water back in. Instruction: make their feed a wet mash. Take their normal grain or pellets, add a scoop of plain soaked beet pulp, and pour in enough warm water to make it soupy, not just damp. Let it sit for about 15 minutes before you feed it, so everything softens all the way through. That one bucket puts real water deep into their gut, exactly where it is needed. The practical advice: watch the water in the trough, especially in winter. If you can, offer warmer water in cold weather, because most horses will drink noticeably more when it is not ice cold. And always keep a plain salt block available, or add a small scoop of plain loose salt to their feed, because salt is what actually makes a horse feel thirsty and drink. The budget trick: if beet pulp is not your thing, just add warm water on its own. Warm water brings out the smell of the feed, which helps a picky horse clean up their bucket, and it quietly gets vital water into the system without any fight at all. Secret number 2. What if there was a simple ground seed you could stir into your horse's feed that acts like a shield for their joints, their skin, and their whole body? We have to talk about inflammation. In both human and animal medicine, we know that long-term, low-level inflammation is behind almost every problem of aging, from stiff joints to poor healing to a dull, unhealthy coat. Most bagged feeds and grains are naturally high in the kind of fats that push the body toward inflammation. To balance that out, a horse needs omega-3 fats. Omega-3 is nature's own anti-inflammatory. A horse grazing fresh green pasture gets plenty of it. A horse living on dry hay and bagged grain almost never does. And here is the real problem. Omega-3 fats go bad very quickly once they hit air. So even when a feed bag claims to have them, after that bag has been open in your feed room for a couple of weeks in summer heat, most of that benefit is already gone. Real-world example. An owner calls me out to look at a 15-year-old gelding. They say, "Dr. Wade, he is just getting old. He does not want to move out anymore. He is stiff for the first 10 minutes of every ride, and he lies down more than he used to." 9 times out of 10, that horse is not simply old. That horse has quiet, low-grade inflammation working on his joints every single day. When we add real omega-3 to his feed and give it a month, that same owner calls me back and tells me he is loosening up faster and moving out like he used to. The correct way. You need to add a fresh, active source of omega-3 to their daily bucket. Instruction. My top recommendation is ground flaxseed. Buy whole flaxseed, grind a small scoop fresh in a coffee grinder, and stir it straight into their feed once a day. Fresh ground is the whole point here. The practical advice: if you would rather not grind it yourself, look for a stabilized ground flax made for horses and keep it sealed and out of the heat. Do not buy a giant bag of pre-ground flax that has been sitting on a shelf for months, because by then it has gone bad, and you are feeding your horse nothing but expensive dust. The vet warning. Omega-3 is a fat, and a horse's gut hates sudden change. If you dump a huge scoop into their bucket on day 1, you are asking for loose manure or a very unhappy stomach. Always start with a very small amount and build up slowly over about 2 weeks. Secret number 3 is something you have probably heard about for your own health, but it is absolutely critical for a horse, and almost every stabled horse in this country is short on it. I am talking about antioxidants, and specifically vitamin E. As a horse works, moves, and ages, their body creates waste products inside the cells called free radicals. In plain language, these are little troublemakers that bounce around damaging healthy tissue, especially muscle tissue and nerve tissue. Antioxidants work like tiny sponges that soak those troublemakers up before they can do harm. And the single most important antioxidant for a horse is vitamin E. Here is the part almost nobody knows. Vitamin E comes from fresh growing green grass. That is it. The moment grass is cut and dried into hay, the vitamin E in it starts breaking down fast. Within a few months of storage, there is almost nothing left. Real-world example. Think about which horses are most at risk. The horse who lives in a stall or a dry lot. The horse who only gets hay all winter. The older horse who cannot handle rich pasture anymore. The hard-working performance horse who burns through it faster. These are the horses I see with muscles that seem sore for no clear reason, or who lose top line and never quite look right, no matter how much they eat. Very often it comes back to this one missing vitamin: the correct way. If your horse is not out on fresh green grass for a good part of the day, they need vitamin E added to their feed. It is that simple. Instruction. Look for a natural vitamin E supplement made for horses. Natural forms are absorbed far better by the body than the cheap synthetic versions, so read what you are buying. Stir the recommended amount into their feed once a day, and be consistent, because it takes weeks of daily feeding to build their levels back up. Practical vet tip. Vitamin E needs fat to be absorbed properly, so feed it in the same bucket as that ground flaxseed we just talked about, or a small splash of oil. Those two work together, and feeding them side by side gets you far more out of both. Are you ready for secret number 4? I want you to think about your horse standing in front of you right now. Almost everything about their health starts in one place, and that is the hindgut. A horse's hindgut is a giant fermentation vat filled with billions of microbes whose entire job is to break down fiber and turn it into the energy your horse lives on. Those microbes are not just helpers, they are the engine. And here is the problem. Those microbes are extremely sensitive to change. A sudden switch of hay, a big scoop of grain all at once, a stressful trailer ride, a course of medication, or a day of hard work in the heat can knock that whole population sideways. When those microbes die off, the horse cannot pull energy from their fiber. Gas builds up, and you get everything from loose manure to a very expensive vet call in the middle of the night. Real-world example. Does your horse get loose manure every time you haul them somewhere? Do they drop weight the moment their routine changes, or turn sour and girthy for no clear reason? Most owners chalk that up to nerves or attitude, and while some horses truly are dramatic, very often what you are actually looking at is a hindgut that has been thrown out of balance and is struggling to recover. The correct way. We need to put living, healthy microbes back in and give them the right fuel. Instruction. Add a good quality equine probiotic to their feed and pair it with soaked beet pulp, which is gentle, highly digestible fiber that those microbes love. Feed it especially around anything stressful, before and after hauling, during any change in hay, and any time your horse has been on medication. The practical advice. The single most powerful thing you can do for the hindgut costs nothing at all, and it is forage. Long stem hay in front of your horse for as many hours a day as possible, ideally in a slow feed hay net. Constant chewing means constant saliva, steady fiber flow, and a stable, well-fed microbe population. Make every change to their hay or grain slowly, over a week or more, never overnight. We have arrived at secret number 5, and I am telling you as a veterinarian, pay very close attention because this one quietly costs more horses their good years than almost anything else on this list. I am talking about the mouth. A lot of owners think a horse dropping a bit of hay or getting a little picky is just an old horse being an old horse. It is not. Here is why the mouth matters so much. Everything a horse eats has to be ground down properly before it can be digested. A horse's teeth keep pushing up out of the jaw for most of their life, and they only wear down evenly if the horse chews correctly. When they do not wear evenly, sharp points and hooks form on the back teeth. Those points cut into the cheek and the tongue, and a horse in that much discomfort stops chewing properly. And a horse that cannot chew properly cannot break down their hay. That means weight loss, a dull coat, and a much higher risk of a dangerous blockage in the gut. Real-world example. This is one of the more heartbreaking parts of my job. A lovely 18-year-old mare comes up for a routine visit. The owner mentions she has been dropping a little weight and has gotten fussy about her bit. I put a speculum in and look at her back teeth, and there are sharp edges cutting into both cheeks. She has been eating in pain for who knows how long, and everyone assumed she was just getting old. She was not old. She was uncomfortable, and it was completely fixable. The correct way. Adding years of comfortable life to your horse means staying ahead of their mouth, not reacting to it. Instruction. Book a proper dental exam and float with your veterinarian about once a year, and more often for older horses. This has to be done by a vet, with the horse safely sedated and a full mouth speculum holding the jaw open so they can actually see and reach the very back teeth where all the trouble lives. This is not something to do yourself. Practical vet tip. Between visits, watch for the warning signs. Dropping half-chewed balls of hay, tilting the head to one side while chewing, slobbering more than usual, whole undigested grain in the manure, suddenly fighting the bit or tossing their head, or a sharp, foul smell from one side of the mouth. Any of those and you call your vet. You do not wait for the yearly appointment. The ultimate truth. As helpful as good feed and supplements are, nothing on earth replaces a mouth that works. There are natural kelp powders such as Ascophyllum nodosum that help soften soft buildup on the teeth through the saliva, and those are a lovely addition for a healthy mouth. But no powder ever filed down a sharp point. Just book the exam and get it done. Take a step back and look at what we built today. We started with a plain bucket of dry feed and a flake of dry hay. But now it is soaked into a warm mash to protect their gut from an impaction. It has fresh ground flaxseed working against joint inflammation. It has natural vitamin E guarding their muscles and nerves. It has probiotics and soaked fiber feeding the engine in their hindgut, and a mouth that has been checked and is actually able to chew. You have not just fed your horse. You have built a bucket of preventative medicine, and it did not cost you thousands of dollars or a degree in nutrition. You used simple, honest ingredients to seriously upgrade your horse's quality of life. Owning a horse can feel overwhelming, and I know it. But you do not have to do all 5 of these things tomorrow. My challenge to you is to pick just one secret from this video. Just one. Maybe you start soaking their feed into a warm mash this week. Or maybe you finally pick up the phone and book that dental exam you have been putting off. Start small, stay consistent, and watch your horse thrive. Which one of these 5 bucket boosters are you going to try first? Please leave a comment down below. I want to hear about your horse. And if this video helped you today, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps me keep making these masterclasses and helps thousands of other horses live longer, more comfortable lives. I'm Dr. Wade Coleman. Thank you so much for watching. Give your good horse a scratch on the neck for me, and I will see you in the next video.